The vast majority of our tuition came from loans and grants. But let me tell you, every month, my father would write out his small check. He was determined to pay his portion of that tuition right on time, even if it meant taking out loans when he fell short. When I first set foot on campus, it all seemed so big and overwhelming. I didn't even know where to start, how to pick out the right classes, how to even find the right buildings. I didn't even know how to furnish my own dorm room. I saw all these other kids moving in all sorts of couches and lamps and decorations for their rooms, but when I unpacked my belongings, I realized that I didn't even have the right size sheets for my bed. Mine were way too short. So that first night, I stretched the sheets down as far as they could go. Then I draped the covers over the foot of my bed, so when I crawled into bed, my legs were sticking out past the sheets, rubbing up against that cold plastic mattress. And I slept that way for the entire freshman year. But when you come from a family like mine, that's what you do. You make the most of what you got. You use all that good common sense, and you don't make excuses. You work hard, and you always finish what you start. And no matter what, you give everybody a fair shake. And when somebody needs a hand, you offer yours. See, those are the gifts my parents gave me, their values. And I quickly learned that those gifts were far more valuable than money or connections. Because once I got to college, I found that when I applied all those values to my studies, I was able to develop an entirely new set of skills that I would use for the rest of my life. Skills like resilience, problem solving, time management. I learned to turn stumbles and missteps into sources of motivation. A week with 3 tests and 2 papers wasn't a reason to stress out, but a reason to plan. A negative comment from a professor in class wasn't a reason to shut down, but a reason to ask even more questions. Most importantly, I realized that what really mattered wasn't how much money my parents made or what those people in my high school said about me. What mattered was what was in my mind and what was in my heart. So my 4 years in school gave me the confidence to know that if I could make it on a college campus, I could make it anywhere. Who are you going to be? And if you'll notice, I'm not asking what are you going to do, but who are you going to be? I'm asking you about how you plan to live your life every day. How are you going to respond when you don't get that job you had your heart set on? For all of you who are going to be teachers, what are you going to do if the students in your class next year just don't respond to your lessons? For all of you going into business, how will you react when your boss gives you a goal that feels way too high? See, these are the moments that define us. Not the day you get the promotion, not the day you win Teacher of the Year, but the times that force you to claw and scratch and fight just to get through the day. The moments when you get knocked down and you're wondering whether it's even worth it to get back up. See, those are the times when you've got to ask yourself, who am I going to be? If you're willing to dig deep, if you're willing to pick yourself up when you fall, if you're willing to work and work until your weaknesses become your strengths, then you'll develop a set of skills that you can mold and apply to any situation you encounter, any job you might have, any crisis you might confront. But you got to make that choice. Who are you going to be? And then once you answer that question, I want you to answer a second question. And that is, how are you going to take those skills and experiences that you've gained and use them to serve others? Do not ever let anyone make you feel like you don't matter, because you do. And you have a right to be exactly who you are. And when you encounter obstacles, because I guarantee you, you will, and many of you already have, when you are struggling and you start thinking about giving up, I want you to remember something that my husband and I have talked about since we first started this journey nearly a decade ago. Something that has carried us through every moment in this White House and every moment of our lives. And that is the power of hope. The belief that something better is always possible if you're willing to work for it and fight for it. It is our fundamental belief in the power of hope that has allowed us to rise above the voices of doubt and division, of anger and fear that we have faced in our own lives and in the life of this country. Our hope that if we work hard enough and believe in ourselves, then we can be whatever we dream, regardless of the limitations that others may place on us. The hope that when people see us for who we truly are, maybe, just maybe, they too will be inspired to rise to their best possible selves.
Stop worrying so much about getting things wrong. Success has nothing to do with perfection. So stop being nervous, raise your hand, use your voice, get it wrong, learn from your mistakes, and keep moving on. And don't worry about what other people think. It doesn't matter. I'm 50 years old now, and nothing anyone said to me when I was young that was negative matters. It doesn't matter. So be brave, use your voice, ignore the doubters, and work hard, because life is hard work. Don't be afraid of it. Just do it.
Do not be afraid to fail, because that oftentimes is the thing that keeps us as women and girls back, because we think we have to be right. We think we have to be perfect. We think that we can't stumble. And the only way you succeed in life, the only way you learn, is by failing. It's not the failure, it's what you do after you fail. You know, do you let it eat you up? Do you quit? Do you give up? Or do you let it bolster you? Does it serve as the challenge in your mind to do more, to take some risks, to step outside of your comfort zone? We cannot compete and see one person's failure as our success. We can all rise together, okay? We can all win. And we're sometimes taught in our societies that we have to compete and we have to hold each other back in order for one of us to succeed. That is not true. We need each other.
Excellence is the most powerful answer you can give to the doubters and the haters. It's also the most powerful thing you can do for yourself. See, because the process of striving and struggling and pushing yourself to new heights, see, that's how you develop your God-given talents. That's how you make yourself stronger and smarter and more able to make a difference for others. So those are the choices that Barack and I have made.
Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to take risks. Learn to use your voice now. Ask questions. Ask stupid questions. Be laughed at. Get it wrong. Trip, fall, and then get back up. Have responsibilities, because what I tell my kids, you have to practice who you want to be. You know, you don't wake up one morning and you're suddenly who you think you want to be. You have to put some energy into it. So if you want to be an honest person, you have to be an honest person every day, even starting at 3 and 4 and 5, right? If you're going to be a hard worker, hard work doesn't just appear. You have to practice hard work. You have to practice effort. You know, and I also encourage them and try to help them understand that good things don't come easy. You know, with that effort, you know, that's where you grow. That's where growth is. Some of the best times in my life when I've grown, it's when I've done something hard, when I've overcome a fear. You don't realize that when you're doing it, but when you come out on the other side, you realize, wow, I've really stepped up. Doubts don't go away. You just learn how to deal with them. You start knowing yourself and you become more confident. The more successes you have, the more chances you take. You don't let the failures or the stumbles define you. You know, everybody falls every now and then. Some people fall a lot. And what I realize is that we have long lives if we're healthy and we do what we're supposed to do. I'm 47 years old. So think about it. Whatever mistake I made when I was 13, who cares? So think about life as a long trajectory. But at the same time, you don't want to make huge mistakes, because when you're young, making big mistakes can last forever, right? So you want to choose wisely.